What is up, everyone? I hope everyone is having a good evening. Welcome to the Voice of Detailing podcast. So, I'm really excited for this one because we have a special guest this evening, and that is Vic from Suds.Lab. So, I teased about this a couple of weeks ago, and if you follow the channel, you know that we use a lot of Suds.Lab products. So, we are going to meet the man behind the Suds, and we're going to hear his story, and we're going to hear some horror stories. We're going to hear some good stories and talk about products as well. So, welcome, Vic.
Thank you for having me, Phil. First off, I
Yeah,
just want
you're
to say
welcome.
I'm very excited to be a part of this.
Awesome. Me too. Me too. Look at this. The comments are already coming in. And first from Puerto Rico, you are second. Sorry, bud. You didn't get here fast enough.
Umberto, you
Literally
have 2
2
seconds.
seconds. That was it. And
All
Vic knows who
righty.
you are, Humberto. What is up, everyone? I see a bunch of people in here. This is great. This is a great start to an evening, and I hope the next hour is really going to be enjoyable. So we're going to hear again. We're going to hear his story, how he got started detailing. He is a mobile detailer, a real mobile detailer. And where are you located, also, Vic?
I'm located in New York City.
New York City. Oh, nice. Must be nice and warm up there.
I mean, it's cold, not as cold as by you.
Yeah, I know. We've been having a real crazy cold snap down here for the past 2 weeks. It's been really, really cold, but it's nice to be inside and warm. And I'm sure everyone who's watching is hopefully going to be nice and warm this evening as well and enjoy the show. All right, Vic. Well, let's get into this. So, what got you into detailing in the first place?
So, what got me into detailing in the first place was I was actually in college at the time and I was trying to find a job. As most people know, when you're in school, they give you very odd hours. You'll have a class on Monday, 11 a.m., it ends at 2. Then Tuesday, you have a class at 3 p.m., Wednesday, so on and so forth. So it was
Mm.
very hard to find a job. And I was working at a job at one point. I was working on packing boxes, just trying to find like odd work. Then I got my first car and I wanted to wash my car myself because, like I'm hanging out on Sundays. I wanted to find something to do. And I didn't want to go to the car wash because I liked having my car clean every single week. And again, I was going to the automatic car wash because I didn't know better at first. So I said, I'm going to spend, let's just say $30, $40 a week to get my car clean when I could just do it myself in my driveway. So it started from there. I started buying different chemicals from Amazon and I was washing and I was enjoying. And I realized I was spending like 2, 3 hours to clean my car. And then I never looked at the forecast ever. So I could spend 2, 3 hours cleaning my car and then it rains that Sunday night or
Ah,
that Tuesday it decided to rain. And little by little, I realized, I'm doing a pretty good job. Why don't I happen to be where I was going to school? It was a nice area. So whenever I'm driving to school, I saw a lot of homes, beautiful homes with nice cars. And I said, maybe I can make this a business. I happened to my friend at the time, he gave me the advice. He said, go to Staples, make a flyer. We made like some cheap car wash flyer, like a picture of Google, and I made 500 flyers. I forgot what that cost.
oh boy.
And I went one day after school. I just walked up to each house. I put in the mailbox. I put a few on cars. I got a few text messages. Don't put stuff on my car. Like I thought I was gonna get a customer. Hey, I saw
Oh,
your flyer. It was on my car, and I was like, yeah, hi. How can I help you? Please don't leave something like that on my car. And I was like, well, that's New
uh,
York. That's the
yep,
people.
yep.
And little by little, it's funny. I actually got my first customer one day, and I was so excited. I came and I had a Jeep Grand Cherokee at the time, so I had everything in like a tote. I had the garden hose. The guy gave me uh, his garden hose to use. So I said, okay, great, this will work. Power. I had a regular extension cord, nothing special, just whatever I had in my shed. And I started doing it. And when I finished his car, he loved it. Granted, he told me it took a little too long, and I started realizing, okay, I gotta improve on this. I gotta be quicker, set up unloading. Then his neighbor reached out to me, and then he sent this one customer basically started my mobile service because they had a community group chat, and he
Mm,
said, "Oh, this kid, he washes cars. He's a cute kid, 18 years old." I saw the text message. I was like, okay, cute kid. Like it sounds a little weird, but
mhm,
then I started getting text messages and phone calls, and little by little, the business built up from there, and it actually got to the point where I was like deciding, do I go to class? Do I wash this person's car? I want the money. I need to go to school,
yeah,
and happened to be that it started picking up so well that I was really enjoying it. I was managing it with my schedules with school, and at that time, I actually left my job that I was working where I was packing boxes in a warehouse, and I said, let's try doing this. I was ordering more stuff to the house. I remember my parents were telling me that there were boxes and boxes of stuff coming. Or when my mom went to Costco for grocery shopping, Mom, could you get me these yellow towels? I need them. I'm going to use them
mm,
for this. Or I remember I used to actually pick up cars and bring them to my parents' house and wash them in the driveway,
oh,
trying
wow,
to be a little bit more convenient pickup and drop off service
yeah,
until I realized that when I did that and I was cleaning, for example, I had a BMW. It was I think it was like a 2016, and it had so much brake dust that after I cleaned it and the car looked great, I pulled it out of the driveway. I took it to the guy's house. I got paid. I came back home. I saw the driveway, just brake dust all over
oh,
the driveway, and I had to sit and power wash that all.
ooh, yeah,
And thank God the business picked up, and I got into the summer. In the summer, I go down to Jersey, and I started doing more customers there, and I was really, really enjoying it. And then when COVID hit, was actually my busiest time because that's really when everybody wanted their cars cleaned and sanitized, and I started learning. The steamer, it sanitizes it. Does it really not? What chemicals to use, what not to use. And it happened to be one day I came home and my dad came up with the idea and he said to me, why don't we try and make our own products? Because my dad, thank God, he runs a successful business running wholesale.
cool,
And he said, why don't we try and get you into the family business? Why don't we try and make your own products? Like then we were thinking of names, trying to figure out how do we do this? How do we create products? How
mm,
do we go about this? So we started doing some research, Googling and how to make your own chemicals. Granted, the first few things that come up are home remedies to clean your car. Mix some vinegar with lemon water, a little bit of water. This is how you clean your car.
yeah,
Little by little, we started reaching out to people. Some people didn't answer, some people did.
yeah,
And it got very exciting because you're getting your first batch of products. But again, this was first when we were getting products that were going to be private label.
yep,
So any alterations that we wanted to make required a price increase because it can't be our own.
yeah,
Then we happened to meet this blender, and thank God I was able to say, okay, I want to do something like this. I want to do something like this. Here's your first sample. And it said on the bottle, Vicks interior cleaner. And it was like such a exciting feat to get to and be able to test it and give my feedback, alter it in specific ways, and
oh,
then be able
cool,
to make it work. And it was a lot of fun. And I even got my dad involved in the car a couple times. And we said, okay, let's get this in motion. What do we have to do next? Okay, we have to create labels, we have to get bottles, we have to make sprayers, we have to figure this out. And thank God, looking back at it today, one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. I love doing this and it's been so much fun, and truly I have to give a huge shout out to my dad. Thank you. Because if it wasn't for him, I would not be doing this.
yeah, yeah. It sounds like he knew exactly what to do, what sources, what contacts, like, what steps to take. Because I mean, that's pretty daunting, to do that. It takes money, it takes so much time, the R&D, like all of that to make products. That's one of the reasons why I'm not going to do it. Like I don't have the resources to do that. I'll just use good products, but it's amazing to see somebody actually, pull that off and to do it with your own blender, your own chemist. Now there's
A lot of fun.
oh yeah. Yeah. And I remember I was talking to you before about blending and the way that you make your chemicals. And I mean, not a lot of people realize this, and not every company does it, I guess, or at least not every company will say that they do it, but going through different iterations of certain products. You know, maybe you'll have your first one or two batches and it works great for you, but then you start getting feedback from people, whether on Amazon or Walmart or wherever you were selling, you're selling your products now, and you start getting feedback and you're saying, well, this doesn't work or it doesn't work the way I wanted to. And you get all this feedback coming through. How do you deal with getting that feedback and then improving your products?
So I will say I'm not defensive when I get feedback. I know a lot of people will get angry, but I actually love hearing feedback from customers. For example, like I told you before, our Hydrocoat, which is our spray and rinse product, a lot
Mm,
of people didn't know the application process of it. Some people were applying it straight onto the surface and it was smearing on the paint and they were getting frustrated. And I told them, rinse it off. Okay. Now, after you've done your contact wash, spray it onto the surface, let it dwell 15 to 30 seconds, rinse it off. You'll see hydrophobic properties activate. And they were very happy because they realized that's how the product works. I've also
mm,
gotten feedback from the interior cleaner being too potent, which again, it is strong. But if you read the label, what we've done or what I've done with these products, a big thing like Phil mentioned before, to everybody listening, I'm a mobile detailer. So a big thing for me is being able to give back to the detailing industry. When you're in a pinch and you're really trying to find a product, you want something that works. But
mm,
you also have to calculate it into your cost. If you're going to go to a store and you're going to buy a bottle of a product that costs $30 and you're charging $100 service, you're already at a plus 70 total. So
mhm.
our interior cleaner is dilutable up to 10 to 1. So you can actually make that bottle go a long way. You don't have to
Yeah.
use it at full strength, which is some stuff that we've recommended to people. Some people are interior detailer, which everyone loves. If someone doesn't like it too glossy, you can dilute it ever so slightly to where it gives a lower sheen and it still
Mhm.
has that condition effect. I love feedback. I love it
Good.
because it helps me improve, it helps me grow. We've been doing this not that long, but long enough to where I'm able to bring out a new variation of the product. We actually have done that with our graphene line from R&D. When it was
Yep.
applied, we made it a very simple application process, but happened to be that the way the raw goods were working based off the elements, it was leaving a minor haze and it required people to use a two towel method or three towels sometimes.
Yep.
And we've reformulated it to where it's similar to a spray wax, but it's bonding and it's strong and long lasting, where it's a spray, buff on, a secondary cloth just to
Mm.
be safe. And it works and people love it.
That's awesome.
I love
So
feedback.
that's the whole point of professional products too. This is not just consumer type of products, and you can tell by actually looking at the bottle itself. I mean, the 32-ounce bottles, the way that everything is designed and the packaging, the way that it comes, it's like when I see your stuff at Walmart, you look at all the other stuff and it's just very much cookie cutter, like definitely for the consumer. Yours stands out as actually for the professional. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's like your
Thank you.
your products, even though they're in Walmart, like I look at them, I'm like, they need to belong in other places. They do.
We're trying.
And I
We're
know you're
trying.
starting at Walmart and Amazon and things like that, but it's like your products, and I know they will. They'll get there. They will be in other places, other retailers, because that's where they belong. It's professional grade products, and the fact that you're like tweaking them, you get feedback, and you're tweaking them, or you teach people how to use them, because that's professional products too. It's like you can't just pick up any professional product in a gallon form and just use it out of the bottle and just say, "Oh, it's a spray wax or it's a decleaner, a degreaser or an all-purpose cleaner," and you just use it straight out of the bottle. No, it's like professionals know dilution. You got to dilute it right. You got to know what surfaces to work on, all of that stuff. And that's like that's when I look at your products, that's the feeling that I get is that professional type
Thank
grade,
you.
feeling. And the fact that they're dilutable products, it's saving you money. It stretches it, and the products actually work. They're strong. They do the job correctly the first time, which is awesome. So,
Another thing to also mention about that, with expanding and making it easier for everybody to use, on the
mm,
back of our products, based off feedback that we've gotten, we've done professional video where now on the back of our products in Walmart stores, if you don't know how to use it, not everybody wants to sit there and read a whole bottle. You can
mm,
scan the back of them with a QR code that'll teach you how to use the product. It's about a 27 to 30-second video, and it's a very simple application when using all these products. You watch it, you like it, you like it. You don't like
oh, this
it,
is cool.
shoot me a message and I'll teach you why you should like it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So I'm gonna post your phone number, your home address, your social security number, everything so guys can get
Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. No, but feel free to reach out. Reach out to Suds.Lab. Go to his Instagram. I know you have your Vicks mobile wash on there too, but go to Suds.Lab on Instagram, and I mean, if you do have questions about the products on usage, that's always important. To reach out to the person who knows about these products. Um, so I know you have some new stuff that's going to be coming down the line. We're not going to talk about it, but to kind of put it out there, there are new products down the line. Very excited about. But you have a really nice line of products to begin with. I mean, you have your shampoos, you have your interior cleaners, your exterior cleaners and degreasers. Um, you have your sealants, like your spray sealants as well. The hydrocoat we talked about, I use that a lot for maintenance. I see a few in here use your interior cleaner and love your interior cleaner. Um, I have a couple of other ones that you sent me, like fabric protection and a few other ones. So you're really like expanding. You're trying all sorts of different products to put it out there. I mean, that, again, that's kind of indicative of a professional line and not just making simple, boring stuff that the public can use, consumer can use, but actual interesting products that the professional detailers are going to use. So that's cool. Well, here's actually a question that just came in. Oh wait, not that one. Oh well, actually that one's good too. I'll get to that one in a second. But this one here, yes. So, what are some of the biggest challenges of running a chemical company and being a mobile detailer? That's a good question.
That is a great question. So I will say, from the running a chemical company side, it's production and coordinating to make sure everything stays in stock. You need to make sure you have everything you need. So the way our product breakdown goes by is we have chemical, sprayer, bottle, label. So it's about a 4 to 5 step process. So we need to make sure when we're producing products, we have everything. So we try and check at least 3 times a week to make sure that we have a sufficient amount of everything, and then say, okay, we're going to go into production and make X amount of this product, X amount of that product. And regarding the mobile detailing side, I actually operate that on Sundays. I've diverted resources from the mobile detailing side more to Suds because it's a lot more enjoyable for me to be able to get the type of feedback where someone says, I was able to use this on a job. And I was actually trying to find it today. Someone said that they used two products, our iron remover and our ceramic spray sealant, and they were able to upcharge their customer service. They were able to say, because this customer works in a rail yard and they use the iron remover to remove all these orange spots, and they were able to upcharge the customer an extra $45, I think they said,
Mhm.
just to be able to provide something that nobody has been able to remove.
That's
And
cool.
I love hearing that. From the mobile detailing side, I actually run the mobile detailing, like I said, on Sundays, but there are times where I have fleet accounts where after work, when I'm done, I'll go and I'll do them at night. I'll drive over and I'll take care of it. My truck is actually my second truck, and it has lighting on the exterior. I also have pods that I've worked with and some headlamps, and I'll work at night. I'll finish up the job. I'll come back home and then go back to the office the next day to work on the chemicals.
Nice. Man, that's a full schedule. It's like you really devote a lot of time to the chemical line, to the suds, you know? And I know we
Love
talked
it.
before and you said you kinda use your detailing businesses like the R&D. Like, you're always using your products and you're testing them, real world testing them as a mobile detailer. That's really cool. We'll just do this
Yeah,
one question and then we'll move
mm,
on, but, top 3
that's a
products
good
to
question.
try. Yeah.
I would tell you for sure zero acid wheel cleaner, interior cleaner,
Mm,
and our D3 detailer. Those are
nice.
from the interior side, you're getting a heavy cleaning, cup holders, door jambs, plastic moldings, all that really stuff on dirt and grime. You would use the N2. D3 is a perfect maintenance product you can keep in your trunk. The XA, the reason why you'll enjoy it is because it's not a touchless solution. What we actually put on it is minimal scrubbing required
Mm,
because some tires and rims you can spray it on, let it dwell for 30 to 60 seconds, rinse it off. But for example, like gloss black rims or vehicles that have high caliber brake dust, you're going to have to agitate in some minor spots. So I don't want to give anybody false hope by putting touchless wheel cleaner as the first bullet point when you read it, and then you go and you put on your car that you haven't cleaned in 6 months and it didn't get it all off, and then you say, Vic, the product didn't work. I,
yeah.
I like being very honest with what I'm advertising to the detailing world.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, there have been products that I've been that have been suggested to me that a lot of detailers are like, "It's the end all be all, it'll clean anything and everything," and then when we were mobile, we were getting the worst cars in the world. They were always trash, they were horrible inside and out, and it was a good way of testing products and really putting them to work, and there were just some wheels, for instance, with brake dust where, like you said, someone didn't clean them for 6 months, on like a BMW, and with those pads and rotors, it just caked everything, and it would clean maybe the surface, but inside the barrel, couldn't do it. Like, you'd have to take the wheel off and scrub it, and even then, it would need to be refurbished. And some, detailers would say, "Hey, use this product," and I use so many different products, and on some wheels it worked, but I didn't know how long the brake test was on there, and then other wheels it wouldn't work, but I didn't know how long the brake test was on there, so, there's all those variables that come into play. So, yeah, it's maybe if you are a mobile detailer watching this or a detailer in general watching this and you're new to the game, you're gonna have to ask questions like that of the customer and say, like, "When was this last washed?" Or especially with wheels or things that are gonna be difficult to clean. You'll know that with experience anyway. You'll get to know those areas of the vehicle that get it the worst and
Yeah, I
how
did a
long.
job this past Sunday. I did a
Yeah?
job this past Sunday. The customer didn't clean their car since April, I think she said April 10th, 2023.
Oh
And it was
gosh.
and it
That's
was the vomit
terrible.
removal job that I was telling you about before.
Ugh.
So like Phil mentioned, I do a lot of R&D from the detailing side. I think it was Jay who asked that question
Yeah. Yeah,
and
Jay.
about how I manage everything.
Oh,
So
Rick
a lot
Smith,
of the
actually. It was Rick Smith.
oh, Rick Smith, sorry. So I will test almost all my products on my van, on my car, to really see how I like it before I bring it into the detailing side of my services.
Mm,
So, for example, this customer, their wheels, they had standard aluminum wheels. It was a Jeep Wagoneer.
mm,
I sprayed the zero acid wheel cleaner on the rim. I knew I was going to be really shocked to see because it was a clear silver and it was brown.
mm,
So I said, how much is actually going to come off? I
mm.
sprayed it, I let it dwell, and then I decided to agitate. And I compared. I said, can it work? Can it not work? Happened to be, I got 90% of it off touchless. And then there were a few spots that you really had to agitate, or it was just burnt in.
Yep,
There's only so far detailing chemicals could get you, like what Phil mentioned before, where you have to refinish a wheel.
yep, exactly.
And from the vomit removal side, I was able to test other products that we're working on.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. That is cool. All right, good. Those are some good questions. Keep them coming, guys, if you do have questions. I know someone here oh, Marco, this one about wheeling lights? I'm not sure what those are.
So
Are
those
those a special
are
lights?
actually emergency lights. So I'm a volunteer
Ah,
first responder. So they say that you have to be cautious when you are washing your car going through an automatic car because it could get waterlogged and damaged. Our products are safe. My car has lights. My van has work lights and emergency lights. So if you could actually see, I was actually trying to find the video where I responded to a call in my car washing van, a first aid call, and all my products are tested, like I mentioned, on my car or my van before I even bring it to my customers. And then, based off how I like it on my customers' cars, then it goes into production.
nice. Nice. Very cool. I didn't know what that was. I'm glad that question was
Yeah.
relevant. That was really cool. That's
Whalen's actually
awesome.
a big light brand out in Connecticut.
Oh, it's a brand. Okay. Okay. Is it a brand and a type of light also? Like it's kind of synonymous?
Sort of, but
Yeah.
they have a wide assortment of lights
Ah, okay,
and
cool.
how different is it?
That's cool. So I know this question, I know we talked about this because some people think, that your products are just like a copy of some other product, the Dark Fury. Um, and that's such a common mistake. I know you'll explain it, but just coming from me, not knowing mixing chemicals and things like that, people look at detailing chemicals and they'll just compare. They'll be like, "Hey, that is just like that, same smell, same color. It could be made by the same, you know, blender, who knows? Some are, some aren't." This is just my opinion, but the fact of the matter is if you mix certain chemicals together, there's going to be a certain end result in either a smell or a color or a look of a product, you know, but it's not going to be the same product. So that's just,
Correct.
I know that from common sense, but I mean, you can explain it with the way that you make that chemical.
So it's funny when we were actually formulating this product, and I wanted to make, like I mentioned before, a touchless cleaner because when I was detailing, I was using acid. I was learning, and I realized wheels took me the longest amount of time. How can I make a touchless wheel cleaner, but it's safe on my skin? Because I remember I used to spray the acid, use a barrel brush, it kicks back on you. If you don't wash it
Mm,
off, you will get red spotting. I've noticed it, but when I actually went to the facility and the chemist showed me the composition of what it takes to put it together, and
mm,
then he showed me the product after it's sat and stabilized, it mixes to that color. When you put A, B, and C,
yep.
it formulates that color and that scent. So that's a lot of testing that we do with all of our products. If I say I want to make a glass cleaner and you have to put this, and this in it, and
Hmm.
then you need to see what color it comes to because I try and match fragrances based off the color. Like the
Yeah.
interior cleaner is a clear tint, but it has a little bit of yellow, so it has that lemony citrus scent because I
Yeah.
want it to coincide with each other. But also to touch on it, ours is different than Dark Fury. It's no knock to Superior at all. They have an amazing assortment, but
Mm,
it has to do with the chemical composition. When you're mixing A, B, and C, it equals
yep.
D, and that's really what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And that just makes sense. It's, not all of us detailers know what it takes to like mix the chemicals and what it comes to, the end result and all that. But that was a good way of explaining it. So, and it's nice you have your own chemist that you can actually go there and like see the products being made if you want, and kind of witness them being
He's the
made,
best.
which is really cool. That's
Very
awesome.
appreciative of that team that we have over there. They're amazing people.
That's awesome.
They put
It's
up
so
with
good to
all
know.
my comments, like I mentioned to you before, I drive people crazy because before people really saw me behind the brand, they
Hmm.
just thought we were another company. But
Yeah.
like I said, the goal is to really be able to provide a functional product at an affordable rate, but it works. You're
Yeah.
not spending $5, $6 and then it doesn't work.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So if you have not tried Suds.Lab products, you gotta give them a try. You have to try them out. So if you go to Amazon or just go to your local Walmart and pick up some products and try them. and let us know what you think. So cool. Well, let's get into some of the stories because I'm excited to hear some of the stories, the good and the and the bad. Let's start with some of the bad stuff, and then we'll end with the good stuff. So let's go with the bad stuff. What are some of your horror stories that you have for us?
So I'll start with the first one before we get into the second one.
Okay.
When I first was still, before I had my van and the generator and the setup, like I said, I was working out of my Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I had this customer who booked an interior detail. And I was excited because it was one of my first big jobs. I remember I went to Walmart, I got the Bissell Pro Heat to do the shampoo extraction. I had a steamer. It was an older Mercedes, and it was I think it was a S class, and it had tan interior. And he said that his kids came back from softball, and the whole thing was covered in dirt. So I vacuumed it up. I started my whole process. First, when I got there, there was no parking. If anybody knows New York City, there is zero parking. So I had to drop off my stuff, park the car down the block. There was a toad on the sidewalk, and they lived on a second floor apartment. So I had to run the extension cord upstairs, down the balcony, and be able to work. And it happened to be I was working on this guy's car for close to 3 hours. I was extracting, but I couldn't get some of the stains out because there was previous stainage. Because some Mercedes, I've actually noticed it now, but some Mercedes, when they have a tan interior, the
Mm.
carpet mats, the floor mats are actually a different color because they
Mm-hmm.
absorb a lot more dirt. And I tried so hard extracting this, power washing it. I tried everything, and it really looked like brand new, but you could still see the stains. And this guy was beyond frustrated. What am I paying you for? An experience. And it hurt because I spent 3 hours and I really, really worked hard on it. And I used every chemical I had at my disposal. And I really tried. But also, the biggest thing that I didn't mention before, the car had some serious wear and tear in it. The leather, even though it was perforated, was ripped. So,
Mm.
like, there was a stain in between a rip of perforated leather. And if anybody knows, you cannot touch that because once you agitate that in any sort of way, it'll just grow and get worse and worse and worse.
Exactly.
And the outside of his car, it looked like Wolverine went through the side of it and on the hood because he went to the car wash. And he thought, and I told him, I said, you booked an interior only. And he was so mad, he said, wash the outside. And I ended up doing it, but he wasn't happy. I gave him a discount and I moved on.
Mm.
Thank God I haven't seen him in 7 years.
Ugh, that's a rough one to start with. That is a
Yeah,
rough one to start with. Well, that's like your intro. That's your intro to detailing. Welcome.
you get your first rough customer. But to touch on the good one,
Mhm.
it actually happened 2 years ago. Happened to be, everyone has a business email or a phone number, and it's rare you get an email.
Mm.
Usually, a lot of detailers use their business email for subscriptions to stores or websites and forums. So, happened to be,
Mm.
I got an email and I thought it was a scam. Someone said they wanted to see my pricing. I sent it to them. Then I got a Zoom invitation. And I was wondering, I'm like, a Zoom invitation happened to be, I asked my dad because he said, "Oh, I knew your father." So I said, "Dad, who is this guy?" He said, "Oh, just take the call. What could happen?" And I did a Zoom call with the guy, and I basically went over each uh, package I offered, how it works, what I do, how long it takes, and he tells me, "Okay, I have 7 cars." I said, "Wonderful," and he said, "Okay, what? How?" This was the best part for me. Usually, people will say, "I have X amount of cars. I want the cheapest package." He
Mhm.
said, "What package do I need to start with to then transition to maintenance?" I had a smile from ear to ear, and I recommended this package. Happened to be, we booked it, set up a date to go do all the cars, and they were spotless. Like it felt like I was robbing the guy, and it was amazing because I ended up giving him a discount. Not
Mm,
amazing like I robbed him. I ended up giving him a discount because I said, you didn't need all this, you didn't need all that. I ended up doing this within the package, but you're going to pay this rate. And he was so
mm,
appreciative of it because he had another company that he used to use,
mm,
and they were charging a heavy premium. And I granted my prices are not as strong as they should be in the market, but I love what I do and I enjoy it.
mm,
So what he did was he said, "Okay, I want you to come every Friday, wash these four cars. On Sunday, wash these three, and we'll fluctuate throughout the week." Happened to be he gave me like the big D ring of keys. He said,
mhm.
"This is the alarm code. This is the house code. There's the
Whoa.
garage code. Go in here. There's power. There's water. You don't have to bring anything. Come whatever time you want." So after I did the first package, I said, "All right, this guy's awesome." And then every time I would go, "Oh, could I get you coffee? Could I get you water?" Because I would go early. I would start my days very, very early.
Mhm.
And this customer was actually what helped us launch the graphene carbon coat,
Oh, cool.
because what we were able to do was I took different cars. One was a Porsche, one was a Range Rover, one was a BMW, one was a Mercedes, all different colors. And
Mm,
I applied it on all the cars to really see, because I had four different bottles of each with four different price points. And I wanted to see how it can work.
mm.
So I did the clay bar process with the Claymate that I now have, because I wanted a fine grade clay that won't mar the surface if you're doing it right.
Yep.
And what I did was I applied it, and then by the time I got to like the 1 month cycle of doing all the cars, I said, okay, this is the product that we're going to move forward with. And I
Cool.
approved it, it went into production, and now it's one of our strongest sellers today.
Wow. It's one of the strongest sellers. That's awesome.
One of our strongest sellers online. People really love the product because of the longevity.
That's awesome. Nice. Nice. You know, I'm trying to think if I have that one. I don't remember.
GC,
GC. I'll have to check.
you applied it. Just so everybody knows, I watch every one of Phil's YouTube videos. I've been watching them from when I first
You
started. He
remember them more than I do.
the first time you tested it, it was on a white Chevy Silverado, I think. You were using a
Oh.
pink towel from Rag Company. They gave it to you. You got a sample of it to try. It was one of those flip towels. I always forget what it's called.
Oh, that's right. That was probably from one of the glove boxes too.
Correct.
Yep. Okay. All right. So I do have it. All right. I'm gonna have to pull that out and start using it some more. That's
So,
cool.
just to mention to everybody who's watching, I learned how to detail cars really through a lot of different people on YouTube, but one of the main ones were Phil.
Okay.
Because what Phil did was he actually answered a DM when I had a question. A lot of people in the industry, like I mentioned before, I love answering questions when people give it to me. I don't want to leave people on red.
Yeah.
So if I had a question about how to do something and I actually scrolled up all the way, I happened to open up on my desktop. The first question I asked you was how to apply leather coating, because you posted a
Mhm.
video and I was hesitant on how to do it. And I had a white Tesla coming in and the customer asked me if I know how to do it.
Yeah.
And I remember I asked you, okay, what's the prep process? How does it work? What do you need to do? And you gave me all the step by step process, and that was the first time I ever did a leather coating.
Wow. Oh, that's cool. You know, actually speaking about that, I know we have been communicating for a long time. Like I think before you made the Suds.Lab line. Like I remember answering questions, we would be chatting, and then all of a sudden you start coming with the products. And I first thought, I assumed, I'm like, oh, he's got some other company that he's white labeling products from. I mean, that's what you're gonna assume anyway from any a detailer trying to make their own products. That's usually the
For sure.
easier way to do it. And then I started asking you questions about it, and you're like, "No, no, no, it's my line." And I'm like, "Oh, that's different. That's interesting." And the more products I started using from you guys, yeah, I really started to appreciate them and realize that they were actually like real products that you guys created yourselves, and it was like an ongoing process because you would send me updated stuff too. I think you sent me some like newer updated things, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
that's the
one
old
of the new ones
version.
was the wheel brush.
Yep, yep, the wheel brush, exactly. Yeah. Now, speaking about that, I know we didn't touch upon it, but it's not just chemicals, and I know kind of brushes are brushes. There's all sorts of different brushes, but you just sent me a couple of brushes that I've never seen any other brushes like this before. The style of them, the interior natural hair brushes for interior detailing, and you can use them on the exterior too. I'll be
Correct.
showing those in some videos soon. Um, but you also have like the rubber grippy tire brushes and wheel brushes.
Yeah.
Because anything with rubber grip is going to be good because things get slippery when it's soapy and wet and all that. So you have more than just products. It's tools and
Try and
towels.
bring the whole brand, and we have some exciting stuff in the motion, which I'll gladly mention. We're
Okay.
still a couple months away. We are finalizing a heated car blower. It's going to be
Oh,
corded, 20-foot cord, comes with two
nice.
different nozzles. We actually showed it at SEMA, and I had 5 people who asked me if they could buy it on the spot. One guy pulled out $200 and he said, "Oh, please, can I have it?" I said, "No, no, no, no.
Oh,
This is
wow.
this was my sample from R&D. Like you can't."
That's
That's
cool.
so to touch on the rubber line. The reason why we wanted to try and create something more pro grade was similar to like you mentioned. When you're
Mhm,
agitating or when your hands are wet, stuff always slips out of your hands and it's frustrating. And we wanted to make brushes a little bit more lightweight and easier to use. And they have special points on the brushes in grooves where you can like press your thumb. Like there's one spot on the brush that's
mhm.
meant for your thumb. The reason why we have that is because I like sometimes pushing my thumb when I'm scrubbing a tire instead of like this, just
Yep.
because to get a little bit more agitation in it. Yeah, Carlos, it's going to be an orange, I promise.
They're
You're
they're
going to love it.
orange. They're nice.
And with the wheel brush, what we actually did was this was a big undertaking.
Mm,
The first batch of wheel brushes we made were exquisite. They were amazing. Everybody loved it. They were affordable. They worked the right way. Unfortunately, based off discrepancies that we had with the factory, the way a little history or a little interesting feat about how the brush works is it's a steel braided wire that goes through the entire thing, where the
mm,
bristles all get attached. You have the little guard and the handle. The
mm.
problem that we had was the factory when they were making it. We noticed a few discrepancies where if this is the whole brush, they were stopping it here. And
Mm,
what we realized is when people try and agitate and contour in specific ways, it would crack.
mm.
And people were getting very frustrated. And obviously, we refunded them because I felt bad. And I didn't realize there was anything wrong at first because, the brushes are doing great. I'm using it. I love it. Like I had Gen 1.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
still have Gen 1 hanging in the van. I still use it. And then I happened to take one out of the packaging and I said, okay, let me test it. I'm using it. And then because it can contour, I bent it a specific way and the handle broke off. And I said, oh.
That's why.
Then we went from there and we redesigned the brush. We made it stronger. We updated the braided wire. We wanted to make sure that it was also shorter to where you're getting more bristle than wire because some brushes have like bristle, then there's a gap, then there's the
Mhm.
handle. I wanted to make it shorter so it's a little bit easier for everybody to be able to use and you don't need to have like a monster brush.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, the new wheel brushes, the barrel brushes, and then the soft tip one, and then the more aggressive one. I got those ones, and they're impressive. They're awesome. So, and I
Thank you.
mean, it's pro level stuff. These are not like cheesy brushes that you get on Amazon or anything like that. The feeling of the molding and the way that they're designed and the bristles themselves, like it's pro grade stuff. It's rivaling any other company out there that makes stuff, that makes brushes. But again,
The amount of time that I have to wait for a sample drives me nuts because I'm so
oh
impatient.
yeah,
Like I've sent you pictures. I've sent you the first molding, and the first molding we made was too fat. The second molding
yeah,
was thin. The third, then I had to try and figure out how to make it perfect, and then wanting to make sure that the loop is big enough to fit on holders. Like there was just
yeah,
different things that we kept trying to figure out. How can we make it for everybody?
yeah,
Because also with the
exactly.
rubberized ends, if you're like we mentioned, if you're detailing a delicate rim and you hit the rim, you might leave a little scuff mark. So the rubberized
Mhm.
feature is to prevent yourself from hitting anything.
Yeah, yeah. So twofold. Yep, that works awesome. I didn't see them for sale anywhere else, but can I talk about the towels?
Of course.
Okay, because you sent me some of the towels, and I I have to be honest, I used them on a coating job. I used them for coating removal. And that's that kind of a weird thing with a lot of detailers when they start going with coatings, start using coatings, they're all weird about their towels. They think that they have to be, they want to buy the best of the best towels. Some people like a super plush towel, some people like a super low nap towel. To me, I think that's just personal preference. For the longest time, I was using the Kirkland yellow towels, and they were great because other detailers used them and they had no problems. But some people think they're scratchy, they think they're trash and all that. Um, but I use your orange towels for the coating, and I took them out of the package, and they are fluffier than the yellow Kirkland ones. I also got a package from Walmart, which is actually pretty deep, um, Walmart's or whatever their brand that they're selling at Walmart. Pretty decent
Auto
price. It
drive.
was like, yeah, that one, yeah. And those towels were decent too. They were actually really, really good, edgeless yellow towels, and they were nice and fluffy too. I used them for coatings. But your orange ones were fluffier. Thicker, fluffier, out of the package. Like I didn't need to wash them or anything yet. I just use them straight out of the package. No lint, no issues. Like those towels are premium towels. And you're gonna
Thank
sell them
you.
at Walmart?
I hope. I mean, we hope.
Like
Everybody
it's
keeps saying.
it's insane. Like once people actually try those towels, like it makes all the other towels like meh. Like those towels are amazing. I hope people get to try those out. You will, and they're orange, so Carlos, you better be stocking up. You better buy like 1,000 of them, because well, maybe not a
I know.
thousand, because you might sell out on them, but you're gonna love them. They're
No, you could
awesome.
buy 1,000. Buy a
You
thousand.
buy a
Go
thousand,
for it,
okay?
Carlos.
Yeah, buy 1,000.
So,
Yeah,
like one thing to mention with the towels, a big thing was really testing them. Like from our drying towels, 1100 GSM twisted drying loop. They
yep,
obviously make uh bigger GSMs, bigger towels, but the goal was to get the ball rolling. So like we started with the 24 by 35 standard size,
mhm,
and everybody loved it because you can use it on multiple uses. You could use it on multiple vehicles, and it actually absorbs the water.
mhm,
I did a lot of testing with towels. I did the bucket test where you see how much water it can hold, and I
yeah,
really wanted to make sure that you're getting a quality towel when you're paying for it. And from there, we upgraded to now the two pack 24 by 35. Because, like you mentioned, coating jobs, for example, in your videos, you dry the vehicles with a blower.
mhm,
You don't have that much water to absorb afterwards, but you also want to be able to, like, before we started production on a blower, I was
mm,
using compressed air and I was holding a big towel and I said, okay, this is a little complicated. So
yeah,
we took the same design and we made it a two pack. It's an 18 by 24. And then when we made the multi pack, a big thing was the weaving. I wanted to make sure that it was plush enough to use for all of our exterior applications, but safe enough to still use on a lot of interior surfaces. For example, the piano black interior is the most delicate
oh yeah,
interior surface in a car. You
yep,
can't use stiff bristle brushes. You have to use, for example, like we have the plush brush, with that the makeup brush. We use that on that surface if we're even touching it.
yeah,
Then with the towel, like you mentioned, Kirkland's Edge.
mhm,
We use edgeless because
yep,
we don't want any little strands or fibers to scratch it. But it's also good enough to use for glass cleaning. For example, like our glass cleaner that's in production, which I just mentioned, that we're working on. I've been testing it on that because my
mm,
windows are tinted. I've scratch tinted windows before from using edge towels, and it was a disaster. Replace the window, replace the tint, and it's not fun.
Mm.
So we've been working on different ways to slowly improve the brand, but to give a functionality and enjoyment when you're washing everything. I saw Carlos also mention the comment. He was saying that we need to make larger scrub pads. We actually have, what
Oh
we
yeah.
did is because the scrub pads were such a big fan favorite and they come in a 2 pack at Walmart or a 3 pack online, we
Mm.
actually make it that it comes as a mitt where you put it on if you're doing the back row of an SUV or a car and you want to hit a larger surface and just spray the cleaner all over, wear it as a glove and just go on with agitating. I even use that sometimes when I'm doing a dry shampoo on Alcantara or suede surfaces just for wider surface coverage and if I don't want to saturate it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So here's a question. That's an interesting one.
What is it, the
There's some
question?
feedback.
Can I recommend that you relook at the tire shine applicator? Add a rubber layer in between the black foam and orange handle. Over time, the dressing seeps through and gets messy. That
Oh
is a good
yeah, you're
point.
right. You're right. I
I'm
don't see any people
assuming
doing that.
I'm assuming that you're probably using a silicone tire shine, silicone solvent base, so it is very strong. Over time, when it sits, it will slowly rip apart that separation, and that
Mm.
actually is something good. I'm gonna write that down actually right
That's
now.
good. Good tip. Good tip.
That's a
Chingy
good
blingy.
tip. See, I'll try and figure out how to make it work.
That's cool. You know, it's cool. You can't talk to big companies that make products and tools like this, like one on one, you know, and be like, hey, can you fix this? Can you do this? Can you add this? You can suggest it. You know, people make videos or they'll go on forums and like, oh, I wish, you know, ABC company would make this certain tool a certain way or a product a certain way. Are they going to do it? Are they ever going to see it? Like, who knows? You know, are they going to actually make that
Hmm.
change? Who knows? Usually not. But you can with this guy. Like,
That's what I was saying. I
that's a
love
good tip, you
comments.
know? Now he can improve. Now I bet you're gonna be working on, like, R&D for tire shine things. We're gonna see that in the
I'm
future.
trying to think now what to start with, what to rip off, what to not. Like
I
another thing,
know, right?
also, our spoke brush that we make, the wheel spoke brush. So you have the original Gen One design and now the new rubberized design.
Mm,
The bristles, the way we formulated them is that they're stiff enough to use to really scrub on your rims to clean them, but the end of it is a softer flag tip material to
mhm.
use on bigger trucks to apply tire shine. Like I know you love applying the
Oh, that's
T3
right.
with the brush,
Yeah.
so I have them at my disposal. So I had before we made Gen 2, I had one for trucks and then I had another one for just using to clean rims. Now I've washed it off and I dedicated that as my tire shine applicator brush.
Mhm. Yeah, those bristles are perfect for tire application. That's cool. That is cool.
Amazing
So
comments.
some other questions, durable wax, durable sealant. I mean, you already talked about you have that carbon coat. Was it carbon coat?
Graphene, no,
Graphene?
graphene spray coating.
Spray coating, sorry. Yes,
So the
graphene spray.
graphene spray coating is one of our most durable products because it has graphene oxide in it.
Mm,
Uh, it lasts realistically 9 months. I not 10. I didn't want to round up. I'm very
mm,
honest with my testing. For example, it recently snowed here. It was salty all over the roads. I had that product on my car. And as most people know, you don't want to use a brush to remove the snow from your car. All I
exactly.
did was remote start my car and let it run, and it melted it off. And it was such a fun thing to see. And then when it came to me having to re-clean my car, you still saw that the graphene coating was repelling against the salt and whatever buildup was on the road.
Huh.
You may have to reapply it. So, for example, that's why we have the graphene detail spray, which is a maintenance product. When having the coating, which was what I mentioned, I use the man upstairs, plain and simple.
I know,
That
right?
was a
That is
big
pretty
feat,
cool.
and we're forever. I am personally forever appreciative of them for taking the leap and trying us out.
That's
We've
cool.
grown the brand from spray waxes to wash and wax shampoos to now ceramic products. and we hope to be there for years to come and to grow more and more.
Awesome. Awesome. So I think it
There
was
you go.
Jay who had asked that question. So give that graphene spray wax, that spray sealant a try, Jay.
Our
Awesome. That was
products in Walmart also, we do have longevity scales on them. That's a big
mm,
thing. A lot of our products that we have,
yeah.
we do not put, I mean, there are brands who do not put how long they last. They'll say, hypothetically speaking, it lasts for months. We have a little
Mhm.
scale on the back that says months to weeks, weeks to months, just because I'm very honest. When you're buying a product, it's meant to help you. You want to be able to upcharge it in a service, or you want to be able to say, okay, I put this on my car, it's going to protect my car for X amount of time. Not,
Yeah.
okay, how long is this going to last?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I know. And that's an interesting thing because when we started, I was always looking for a number, a number of months, the durability range. And eventually I just came to understand that then the number is suggested or it's there as like best case scenario type of thing. It can go that far. I mean, right now I have I haven't been taking care of this customer because I actually gave it to Tony Ralda because he's mobile and the customer needed mobile. But I had this customer that we put Sea Quartz UK edition, which is really only like a 2-year coating on a minivan. Granted, it's a silver minivan, so usually lighter colored vehicles, usually, they're not going to accumulate as much heat and maybe protection stays a little bit longer on it. It is garage, but it's a minivan, so it is like their family daily driver minivan as well. I think I applied that it was before we moved here. So I mean that's already like 5 years ago. It could have been even a year before that, so maybe 2018-ish that we applied this coating, and it's still going strong. Like Tony washes it and sends me videos of it, and he's like, "Dude, like, how is this still?" And he tops it. I think he says he sometimes tops it, sometimes he doesn't, and just because he wants to see how long it'll last. But obviously, the customer still cleans it pretty regularly and pretty well. And the coating, the trim, the paint, like everything is still beating like day one. We're like blown away by it.
Wow,
So it's past 5 years for
that's
a
crazy.
supposed 2-year coating. So it's like, it's all about the variables. It's always
I
about
mean,
the
you also
variables.
got
So
Tony working on it. Shout out to Tony. Tony is
exactly.
an A
Like,
plus detailer, and if you need a mobile
exactly.
setup, I would go to
Oh
him.
yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. Yep. I do I do kind of miss my mobile days a little bit. And then when I try to mention it to my wife, she's like, "Mm-mm, nope, we're not doing that." And then
Nah,
I
I've
rethink it
mentioned
and I'm
to you,
like,
you
"All
have
right.
hot water, you enjoy it.
I know. I know." I'm spoiled now.
No, that garage you have is beautiful. I wish I had a garage like that, but I love my van. All my
Yeah,
friends know, my wife knows it, my family knows it. I work on my van all the time. I try and find ways to, how can I add this new reel? How can I fit this in? And then half my friends are telling me, just leave it how it is. And then, you know, you see something on Facebook for selling for $600 less, and you're like, wow, do I want it? Do I?
Aw.
But
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun working mobile. I love it because I really get to see a bunch of different settings, and my van has a lot of stuff.
yeah.
Ooh, this is a
That's
good
so cool.
question.
Yeah, that one is.
So I will tell you, we are in 3,500 doors at Walmart. But if you want, you can shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I can look on the back end to see, based off your zip code, what's the nearest Walmart to you. Or I would tell you to even check on Walmart.com, because if you go on Walmart.com and you want to buy something, they can ship it to the store and you can pick it up from the store, your nearest store.
True. That's true. I forgot about that. So that's basically from, like, anywhere. So are,
3,500 covers a wide variety.
that's crazy. Is that Canada also? Are you in Canada?
So, an announcement for everybody in Canada. It's funny, there was someone who DM'd me today
Someone
asking
yeah,
me.
and someone asked it in the questions too.
I saw that. I saw. Um, We're actually going to be starting this year in the next month or two. We're going to be in the biggest retailer in Canada, Canadian Tire. We'll have
Ooh,
5 products there, bilingual, English, French, all that fun stuff. You're going to be
that's
able to
cool.
read it. There's going to be QR code videos, like I mentioned before, to teach you how to use the product. So we're going to have our interior cleaner, our T3 tire and trim dressing, our ceramic spray sealant, our zero acid wheel cleaner, and our D3, if I recall correctly.
Wow, that's awesome. Very nice. So hopefully our Canada detailers will be able to get that stuff.
Very
Here's
excited.
another
I
one
know
from
actually Victor those contracts like graphene or anything. So that is a great question.
all that controversy has kind of died out. Like, eh,
It did die out, but the controversy. So the way I look at it, there really isn't a controversy. It was a way for me to expand the line, like Phil mentioned before. I want to have the whole kitchen sink. I want to be able to throw everything at the industry and be able to provide quality products. So the graphene line we did upgrade to, like I mentioned, have stronger longevity. But the biggest thing is ease of application because
mm,
people get very scared because they say graphene. Some graphene products have a strong flashover rate. Some people say it's tacky, but those are obviously the ones that come in a vial. Ours come in 32-ounce bottles, spray head, spray, wipe, your car's protected. Like I mentioned,
mm,
my car has it. I've done a lot of R&D with the graphene products,
yeah,
and
that's
I
cool.
enjoy them.
Yep, that's awesome. Yeah, so it's like people don't detailers don't be afraid of that type of stuff. There's actually other coatings out there too. I see a lot of other companies. There's Borafine. There's like all these other, you know, fiends out there. All these different types of chemicals that they're making. But you know, use it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, move on.
There's also a lot
But
of companies that are trying to mix it into their existing products, which scare people away. That's one thing
mm,
that I didn't want to do because actually, what Detailing Grandma was saying, it was the industry. Everybody was
yep,
getting so scared of it.
definitely.
So that's why we decided to make a complete separate line. I didn't want to merge it into anything I have because then someone's going to say, I used to buy this all the time. Now it has graphene. I'm scared.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
don't like it, you can stick with our ceramic products. You'll love them. I love them. I use them all the time. If you
Hmm.
want to take the leap and try something new, you just move on to the graphene line. I didn't want to totally X out a product and now bring it with a new formulation and then
Yeah,
I scare that person away from ever using it.
yeah. So it's a fresh formulation then. It's not like a you're mixing it in something else. It's its own fresh formulation.
Correct.
That's cool. That's very cool. All right, I'm going to entertain this one last question and then we'll wrap it up. Oh, that's
That is a good
that's a
question.
that is good. Yeah, because I don't know anything about that. So
I don't even know how to. I mean, I would say no, but
mm,
realistically, no. The goal is, like I mentioned, with how we came into the Walmart brand being affordable and having amazing products that work. That's how we're moving into the graphene line. I mean,
mm,
the Canadian Tire. I'm reading the thread about graphene.
yeah,
Um, that's how we're moving into Canadian Tire. Still
yep,
bringing that same affordability at but an amazing product. I don't want to be able to say, okay, since my cost is now going to be XYZ, I have to redo the product. I want to still be able to keep everything the same, but now just in a different country, region.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
We're
Yep.
going to bring Suds.Lab global, everybody. We have to.
Oh yeah, man. It should be worldwide very very soon. That is awesome. Well, hey, I think we're going to wrap it up. Vic, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This has been awesome. I wish I could we could talk for hours. We really can. I
We
do try
really
to keep
can.
these at like an hour, but it's awesome. But maybe we'll have another one, when you come out with some new stuff,
I'm in.
let's have you back on and let's talk about it because I think people will
Thank you so
love
much
to
for having me.
see. Yeah, man. I think people will love to see what you have for the future and the new products and the new tools and they just keep coming. So you're obviously working super, super hard at this and and it shows. These are not cheap products and cheap tools. This is high quality pro stuff that people can actually get easily and afford it, and you get awesome results. So
At your local
definitely,
Walmart, people. Quick and
yeah,
easy.
yeah, go and check it out. Um, Now I know you have your Instagram, Suds.Lab. Do you have YouTube yet? I can't remember.
Suds.Lab does have a YouTube.
Mhm.
We are we are not advertising. We are posting more on there. That's where
Okay.
we're planning to post longer duration videos. Like I
Yeah, yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
before, that's when we started this new thing called Full Detail Series, where we'll use every single product from a Suds.Lab line and clean a whole car with it, just so people can learn how to use it.
Awesome.
Granted, you
Awesome.
may see that I'm using like a bigger machine, for example, a mighty carpet extractor and
Yep.
stuff that people think is strictly pro grade, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
That's a very
That's
big
right.
thing. The way we also schedule our photo shoots, I should mention, is based off comments, based off what people really want to learn how to use. Our weekly schedule of shoots is based off that.
Oh, that's
Like I
cool.
think today we actually posted the graphene uh, detailer because people
Mhm.
were wondering how to apply it. And if you see in the videos, it's one spray, buff it in, you're good to go, and you're protected. Simplicity.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, and that is really what a lot of detailers want. They do want simplicity. Some overcomplicate it, but in the end, we're just looking for products that work. They're simple. They're just good products that are affordable and make our customers happy. So awesome. I think your line definitely hits all of those marks. So once again,
Thank
Vic,
you.
thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everybody in the comments, those who are watching. Uh, I'm really happy you guys were here, and I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. For those who are catching it later on as well, feel free to go to the description. I will have it after the video here, and have links to the products on Amazon. Again, you can find them locally, but go and check out Suds.Lab on Instagram. He's always posting stuff on there. You'll be able to see tons of videos, application videos, tutorials, all that stuff. So go and check it out. Big things to come, man. Big things to
Big
come.
things to come. Big
It's
things.
awesome. All right. Once again, thank you, and we'll see you guys later.